We are coming to you from Fountain Bowl in Fountain Valley, California, not far from Los Angeles. It's the PBA Orange County Classic presented by Storm. Dave Ryan and Randy Peterson with you, along with 4 finalists who are ready to roll.
The 1998 PBA Rookie of the Year. He owns 5 career titles today, making his 37th TV Finals appearance. From Flower Mound, Texas, Chris Barnes.
His physical game is as good as any on the PBA Tour, but at times Chris has had mental lapses. Today he's prepared to overcome that as he looks for title number 6.
A bowling standout at the University of Nebraska, this 4-year tour veteran looks for his first PBA title today. From Erie, Pennsylvania, Mike Machuga.
The mantle of being a PBA titleist hangs over his head. Chugs will use the inside line as his path to the pocket today.
From Munster, Indiana, his 1 career title came in 2002. Last season he survived PBA Tour trials to maintain his spot on tour. Eugene McCune.
Eugene's not afraid of the PBA Giants. He beat Norm Duke and Walter A. Williams Jr. to win his first title. Today he'll have to beat Brian Voss if he wants to win title number 2.
A PBA Hall of Famer and former Player of the Year. He has 22 career titles, good for 9th all-time. Making his 3rd TV Finals appearance of the season, from Alpharetta, Georgia, Brian Voss.
Brian is like a fine wine. He just keeps getting better with age, and today the Hall of Famer looks to better the field to become the 8th winningest bowler of all time.
These are your finalists for the PBA Orange County Classic presented by Storm.
The PBA Tour returns to California for the 154th time. The Golden State has hosted more PBA events than any other. Randy, let's break down those brackets.
Chris Barnes, making his first TV Finals appearance of the season, takes on Mike Machuga, who struck out in the 10th frame of Game 7 versus Rick Lawrence to make the show. In semifinal number 2, Eugene McCune, who averaged a massive 244 this week, he hooks up with Brian Voss, who has 2 second-place finishes this year and looks for career title number 23 today.
First semifinal, first interview guest, Chris Barnes. Controlling your own destiny on TV, Chris, a big part of your game this week and against Mike Machuga. How do you do that?
Well, hopefully just stay focused. I got great ball reaction right now. I got a big bully that's rolling fantastic. And if I stay committed to what I'm doing out there, I think things will turn out okay.
Best of luck to you. Mike Machuga, last TV show, Dallas last season. Told us last night, you think a lot about that match with Steve Jarrett. Now a chance to sort of avenge that, come out on a winning side. Can you do it?
Absolutely. I've known Chris a long time, and I know this is going to be a very intense match. We've known each other for probably 16 years now, and I'm going to go out and try to bowl 300. And if I don't bowl 300, try to bowl 279. If I don't bowl 279, I sure hope he misses more than once.
I think these two are ready. Randy, first ever TV matchup, head-to-head, Mike Machuga and Chris Barnes.
It should be a great one. Lots of money up for grabs. $232,000 total prize fund, $40,000 to the winner, $20,000 to the runner-up, and the all-important points. And Mike Machuga will start the match, which means he will finish this match on the right lane.
Nearly had a split to open things up. Mike Machuga.
Very deliberate to start. Took a long time to pull the trigger on this shot. Gets a nice break, only leaving the 4-7. But Dave, in warm-ups, all 4 players struggling to get to the pocket.
Notice that. Brian Voss was clearly watching others burn the tracks with the high-friction ball, including Mike Machuga. He wasn't sure he had it, thought maybe he left the 4-pin up.
Well, curved a little bit going across there.
Yeah, it did, Mike, but he takes care of both of them for the spare. Here's Chris Barnes. One of the best-known players certainly on tour, has had a fantastic season. Red-hot streak, but first TV show of the year for him. 4 straight top 10 finishes heading in. Oh! And he's right in the pocket.
Early good news.
To begin this semifinal match, leading us to the Baby Ruth Real Deal matchup. Randy?
And a pretty tight matchup. The only thing that really stands out is Chris Barnes with about a 5.5 pin a game higher average. Chris Barnes in match play, tied for first for the year, or this season rather.
A very consistent year for Chris so far. Believing in his shots, controlling his destiny. Big keys to Chris's success. He's got to be committed all throughout this TV show and cannot make changes that'll hurt his game on TV.
100% committed to every shot that he throws, and he has to be committed with the decision that he makes to start the match.
Lowest finish for Barnes this year, 30th at the Chicago Open. Since then, he's been outstanding. Mike Machuga, native of Erie, Pennsylvania, now lives in Owensboro, Kentucky. It's got to really hurry. And late help on number 7. Number 10 across the deck. Takes out the 10-pin.
Hey, Ryan, you talked about the guys trying to groove themselves a little path to the pocket. Check out this ball right here. Looks like it was sanded with lane screen. It's about a 220 finish with wet sanded sandpaper on that ball to try to burn up a spot, a little track area for these guys to throw it into.
Works on a strike. Tucks the ball into the 4-pin.
Thinks he's watching, Grumpy.
Trick.
Gets a nice break on the right lane carrying the messenger. Check this out. He thinks it's going to be a big 4. Instead, it's a trip 4.
Double for Chris Barnes to start this semifinal match. All even right now. Looks to take a 10-pin lead. Chris Barnes will do it in style. 16-6 match play record, Chris Barnes. Over the Hall of Famer Parker Bone III in the round of 8 best-of-7 match in 6. It was down 0-2, so he's faced some pressure this week.
Hey, he was up 2-0 to Dale Eagle. Said he got bored. All of a sudden, Eagle comes back, forces a game 7.
7 straight strikes in that round of 8 match with Parker Bone in frames 5 through 11 to clinch it. Really high. Oh, wow. Number 4 late goes down. Chris asked for one more and he got it. Just a 10-pin up for him now.
Well, we've seen Chris do this before on television. His tendency when he makes a bad shot is to pull it, especially when he's going straight. This time, however, he doesn't get the bad break of leaving a split. Trips the 4 out, only leaves the 10.
All right. Spare ball takes care of that.
Got out unscathed.
But it's the strike ball, as we'll talk about. Ball change and a company change for Chris Barnes. It has been a big advantage to him. As we see Mike Machuga's road to the TV show, 228.16 average. In wins, averaged at 240. And losses at 207.11. The only finalist of our 4 to go 7 games. Did that twice, round of 32. Patrick Gerard and Rick Lawrence, who was won already this year on tour, in the round of 8.
That's a good one.
Oh! That was a good one, and that was a terrible break.
Trip 4, huh?
However, like Mikey just said, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. 3 really great breaks in a row. Trips to split out. Messenger, trip 4. Comes back with a perfect ball and leaves a stone 7.
Mike telling us he feels there are moments. His game is as sharp as anyone on tour. Takes care of the 7-pin. Sometimes physically, because of fatigue, he's got to really dig down deep and adjust with the changing oil patterns on TV. Made 2 shows last year, Omaha and Dallas, and he said 20 seconds of his life last year against Steve Jarris. A late shot that he missed in that match has stuck with him all the way to this point, December of the next season. Now his chance on TV. to get back in the groove and get his first career win with shots like that. It could just happen for Mike Machuga.
Well, there's no doubt that Mike Machuga has all the physical talents. And right here, he uses that to get this ball to fit perfectly in the 1-3 pocket.
Ten-pin lead. Barnes works on a strike, 5th frame, semifinal from Southern California.
That's a good one.
You liked it. Another strike for Chris Barnes from Flower Mound, Texas, the Dallas Metroplex.
Pretty much an all or nothing week for Chris Barnes. 244 average when he wins, just over 200 when he loses.
PBA Tour is set to kick off the second half of the season early January. And PBA.com, your best source to purchase tickets and register to bowl the pro-ams for all upcoming tour events. You can also buy merchandise, apparel, keep up with all the latest PBA news, stats, and stories, all that and more at PBA.com. Barnes looks for 2 in a row, 6th frame. Likes it. Yes! Shreds the rack. Chris Barnes is committed to his shots early in this semifinal, but it's been his big theme. We'll talk about consistency on tour and versatility of the 4 bowlers. Lenny now break that down along with the Viper oil pan. Crocodile Randy is coming up. Machuga Barnes, the semifinal, more to come. The PBA on ESPN is brought to you by Odor Readers with unique Zorbatex technology. Destroys foot odor and absorbs sweat on contacts. By Miller High Life, to live simply, proudly, boldly, manly. This is the highlight. And by Dexter, the #1 bowling shoe in the world. What's your size? Welcome back, Southern California, not far from the home of the Angels in Disneyland, one of the world's top entertainment attractions. We have Ryan, Randy, Peterson. Our live coverage continues here on ESPN of the PBA Tour as we wrap up the first half of the season. So happy holidays to all out there. Randy, you know about the PBA Tour and winning here from your early days in the 1980s when you first broke in and started really dominating the tour to now. There is a difference in terms of versatility with these bowlers. They've got to have that to really be successful.
Well, the game of bowling has really evolved over the years. You know, back when I was kind of in my heyday, so to speak, you picked the ball, you picked the spot on the approach to stand, you looked at your target, and you just tried to repeat the same shot. Nowadays, you have to be real versatile. You have to be able to hook it, you have to be able to go straight, and a little bit in between. And all 4 of our players today are very versatile. And when you think of versatility, you think of Brian Voss. You know, you just can't be one-dimensional anymore, and Brian Voss is really the epitome of that. You don't win 22 titles and become a Hall of Famer just being able to throw it one way.
We'll see Brian Voss next semifinal coming up here on ESPN's coverage of the PBA Tour. Brian has the goal of one day returning to be the PBA Player of the Year, but he'll have to master the Viper pattern. Crocodile Randy, you ready to break it down for us there, mate?
Yeah, Viper pattern. Viper pattern was played a couple different ways this week, and basically the bottom line is there's a break point down the lane here. Some guys went really straight and hard from out. Some guys hooked it from in. Point is, you got to get it to this friction zone to get the ball to turn into the pocket. They're not trying to hit this one down the lane. They're going to be hitting right around this area right here. And again, whether it's hooking it or going straight, that's their target zone down the lane.
Look at Mike Machuga trying to focus in. Highs and lows this week of our 4 finalists here in Southern California. We'll see McCune, Voss, and the other semi. 3rd TV show of the year for Brian Voss. Perhaps he will be the Player of the Year. We'll talk about that. First half of our season comes to a close today. The native Pennsylvanian, Mike Machuga, late help on the 9-pin, and a 2nd straight strike.
Mike Machuga on the left lane, gets the beautiful break here, tripping the 4, and follows it up. You know, anytime you get a good break, you want to follow it up with your best shot. He does, and gets 9.
Down 10. Max scores for Barnes right now stand at 279, Machuga 269. We figured on this oil pattern we have some pretty big numbers. That has been the case. Ooh. Machuga is pumped.
Well, like those old guys sitting out in the field in the crock blind, it just don't get any better than that.
A new accent for the show. I like that. Speaking of versatility. All even. Barnes strikes here. He's up 10, folks. Close match to begin our show. Great transition on the backside of that long lane oil pattern we talked about. Later today, PGA Tour stars John Daly, Fred Couples, and Jay Haas take on teams from the LPGA and Champions Tours in a one-of-a-kind golf event. Don't miss the final holes of the Wendy's 3 Tour Challenge today at 4 Eastern on ABC Sports.
Unfortunately, in a one-game match, this isn't what you want to see. But Chris Barnes has got off to a red-hot start. He can strike out, shoot 279.
Great point. Chris told us last night in meeting with him that when we asked him why it is so difficult for him to win on TV, he said, hey, it's a one-game match. It's different than the format you had in days past where you had the 2 9-game blocks of qualifying into best of 5 matches, best of 7 matches, different arena, different forum. He has to make those adjustments.
TV has always been a one-game, you know, win and move on, lose and go home. And, you know, I've talked about it before. Bowling on television is an acquired skill. Oh, that was a great shot. You know, Dave Ryan, there's been guys that have had great careers on television that haven't made a lot of shows. You take a look at this shot right here. Looks perfect. 6 is going to go up and around the 10. They haven't made a lot of shows, but when they got there, they took advantage of the opportunity because they were very good once they got to television. Chris Barnes makes a lot of television appearances, but he just hasn't done what he really needs to do to get to that next level. We talk about Hall of Fame and the greats, and that's winning.
28 events without a victory for Chris Barnes. He did win to begin last season in Japan, which counts as a tour title, his 5th. Did not count for exemption. He got exempt last year with a great season, 6th in the points list last year. Chris has struggled on TV. Machuga wants that first win of his career. Oh yeah! 1-pin lead.
Great tip. Well, let's see here this shot first with Mike Machuga puring it. Look how he posts the shot. His head steady. Follow through goes right at the target. Watch what Mike Machuga does before he throws a shot. He's going to take a deep breath and exhale right before he starts. Great tip to get relaxed before you need to throw a big shot.
Love it.
Yes, sir, Huskers!
He liked it right off the hand, Randy. 10 down in the pit for Mike Machuga. And he's up 11 pins.
Phenomenal shot. He knew it. As soon as he let go of it, nothing was going to stand in the way of that ball.
Being committed to the shots on TV. Critical moment here now, folks. Chris Barnes, he's got to have it. Ninth frame, down 11 pins. Works on a spare. How committed is Chris Barnes? 10 pin.
Oh. That's as good as I got.
Yeah, and when as good as you've got leaves a ring in 10, you're in trouble. The good news is that he still has a chance in the match. Bad news is he's going to need some help. One thing that I've liked about Chris Barnes today, Dave, is that he has stayed committed to his shots. He's made great shots. He only made the one bad shot, and that was in the 4th frame. Everything else has been pure.
Matuga now has a 12-pin lead. Everyone is gunning for this tour exemption. 16 event champs, 4 major champions. These guys are in already. Patrick Gilly Jr. had that big win at the TOC last year, of course, in Connecticut. And our other champions this year, including Mike Wolf, first-time winner. Mason Hurt, first-time winner.
Wow, that lane's getting tight.
That's a split and almost does in Chris Barnes.
Yeah, match is all but over. Chris Barnes said this lane's getting real slick. He thought that was going to turn up to the pocket. Instead, comes in light, leaves at 210.
Yikes. Not good split number success for Chris Barnes. Would love to have it now. Kicked across the deck, trying for the 10-pin, cannot convert. And Chris Barnes' week will end here in the semifinals against Mike Machuga.
Fun while it lasted.
Pretty much with a spare ball, just has to keep it on the lane. To wrap it up, which he does, a 4-pin. And Mike Machuga does, in fact, clinch the semifinal match. A young bowler who tells us his life has settled down.
Well, that doesn't make up for a shot clock,
His
does
bowling has settled down as well. We'll have more time to tell his story in the final. Eugene McCune, Brian Voss, the other semifinalists still to come. And Chris Barnes will have to wait. That TV match losing streak will grow to 5. Chris Barnes.
I want you, BV! I want you, BV!
He wants Brian Voss indeed. We'll tell you much more about that other semifinal match coming up. Matuga over Barnes, 244-224. 2 weeks ago, we saw Brian Voss and Norm Duke hold an emotional match against each other in the Denver Open. When we come back, the Miller High Life Skills Challenge comes your way. Set for the McCune. He's in the Miller High Life PBA Skills Challenge. This week, 2 of the best on tour, Brian Voss and Norm Duke, match wits. Remember, the first bowler to outskill his opponent 3 times wins the match and moves on to the round of 8.
From Claremont, Florida, Norm Duke. Former PBA Player of the Year from Alpharetta, Georgia, Brian Voss.
So the Hall of Famer Brian Voss, tough first shot. Strike with 2 balls left-handed and a 7.5 Randy rating.
Come on, right down the middle, baby. Oh, yeah. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me, baby. The left, the right, the left.
Tough shot, Dave. Not only does he throw it left-handed, but he doesn't put his thumb in either of the 2 balls.
Right now. So this is a must-strike situation. Which fingers do you use, Brian? Just anything you want to do.
That's right, Norm. Anything you want to do. Not easy with 2 spare balls.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Oh, he's got a chance. He's got a chance. Oh.
Norman's so close, but now you trail 1-zip.
I got this. I got this. Pass. Right, draw another number. Big 4, 4, 6, 7, 10. A ball in each hand, and you must make them crisscross. Now the trick to this is to make sure you don't let go of them at the same time, or else they hit each other. So you got to let go of one a little bit quicker. Yeah. That spin out there was really huge, by the way. All right, here we go. Can I use your ball? Or you want me to get mine? You can go ahead and use mine. Just get it close. Now yours normally backs up, so I gotta remember that. Factor that in here. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me. Oh, that's a 2. Come on, you gotta beat that. Come on.
Oh, Dave, this was magnificent.
Are we ready for this?
We're ready for it, Norm. Gotta cross the 2 balls.
He's got a chance. He's
pick up the big four. Ooh, he will not get it. Just one pin knockdown for Norm Duke. And Brian Voss, a 2-0 lead.
Man, need a little rosin here. Come on now, get a little rosin.
What's he got cooking
3
here?
balls in one hand.
What's the odds of a 6-pounder striking?
But all 3 must stay on your hand. Ugh! Easy. Oh, he's got a chance. He's got a chance. The spinning ball makes the spare. Make the spare. Oh! Whoa! Come on now. Come on now. Oh, yeah. That was nice. Here, let me help you out. Which one do you want?
I want a light one.
All right. How's that? How's that? Perfect. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Sure. All right.
Looks like the balls weigh more than Norm does. This is a must make or he will be eliminated.
Gotta try again. 3 in one hand. 3 spare balls.
Oh, he's got a chance. He's got a chance. He's got a chance.
Almost, but not quite for Norm Duke. Voss beats his best friend and moves on to the round of 8.
Nice going, Rick.
I'll be back. That's better practice. 2 hands, I'm telling you, nobody.
And next week, trick shot artist extraordinaire Parker Bowl III, the Hall of Famer, against the Chief, Brian Himmler, a winner in Chicago this year. Now that was fun to watch. How about the shots from Brian Voss? A crisscross, incredible. Filling in the round of 8, you see Couch Kretzer, Reyes, and Chris Barnes, who we saw compete here today. BDW fell to Michael Haugen Jr. and Brian Voss, who we just saw, got by Norm Duke. Coming up, the other semifinal from Fountain Valley, California. Eugene McCune hasn't been on TV since 2002 in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where he won against BB, the Hall of Famer. Brian Voss looks for another title in his great career. Coming up. As was the case in the Barnes-Machuga match, Eugene McCune, Brian Voss meet for the first time ever on TV here today in Southern California. For the right to take on Mike Machuga to see who wins the PBA Orange County Classic presented by Storm. Those 2 semifinals joined now by Randy Peterson.
Thanks, Dave. Eugene, you said last night that the reason for your success this week was that you were able to use the same ball, stand in the same spot, and look at the same target all week long. Has that changed today?
Yes, it has.
What are you doing different?
I'm going to have to move in and either hook it or move in and keep it firm.
Which one do you like the best?
We'll find out.
Okay, good luck. Thanks, Eugene. Brian Voss, man, I sure hope I look as good as you do when I'm 50.
Well, first of all, I'm not 50, you.
All right.
It's all about the hair.
I still have some. 46-year-old Brian Voss, you told us last night that you're still learning out here and that you're getting very good at the chess games that go on week in and week out. How will that manifest itself here today?
Well, this game is, it's forever changing. A lot of things are going on out there, and you really have to commit to playing the lanes a certain way and believe in yourself and know that, you're playing the best odds. And I tell you what, Eugene is, he's an emotional player. I hope some of those emotions are madness instead of glee. We shall see.
Thanks, Brian. Good luck. Brian Voss with a win today will take himself off of the bubble for the Dexter Tournament of Champions.
Randy, like nothing more than that to happen here today in Southern California. Semifinal number 2, Vos and Mccoon. As Randy and I talked about early in the broadcast, versatility for a great bowler like Brian Voss so key as the game has evolved, changed a great deal. McCune on TV for the first time since November of 2002. Told us today it's hard to believe. 2 years have gone by. He's back now, and the fireballer has only a 6-pin count. Yikes.
I talked to Chris Schlimmer, who is the ball rep out here for Dynathane and Storm. That's what equipment Eugene McCune's using. He said he was visibly nervous, and I think I know why, because he is unsure of his ball reaction. You heard him say he's going to have to play the lanes a little bit different.
Does he ever bring it? And late help gets a spare and avoids deadly open with the 8-pin.
Well, they say speed kills, but that time speed was Eugene McCune's best friend. To get the 2-pin to come off the wall and take the 8 out.
Hard to find another bowler, Randy, who throws it harder than Eugene McCune. And hard to find one with more of a finesse game than Brian Voss, who liked his ball reaction in the warm-ups. He told us today and continues that on the show, leading us to the Baby Ruth Real Deal matchup.
Well, here's what dominated the tournament for Eugene McCune. Everything. This guy averaged 244. He struck, are you kidding me, 72% of the time? And look at that, 92% spare conversion, including splits.
Look at that, McCune, Voss right on the bubble for the Dexter Tournament of Champions, which this year in April wraps up our season. Voss likes 2 in a row to begin his 3rd show of this season, tying fellow Hall of Famer Walter A. Williams Jr. most TV appearances so far this year. Well, Brian's message to us very clear. He's gone 2 years, 5 second-place finishes since his last win, 02-03 season, Memphis, Tennessee. Things have got to change for Brian Voss on TV. Yeah, second place is nice. He's got 21 of those in his career, but he wants to win today badly. Back to McCune, throwing heat. Another strike for Eugene McCune.
I showed you earlier in the first match, Mike Machuga using this ball and burning up this area right here. And this is where Brian Voss and Eugene played all week. Well, now Brian Voss has moved in and going with the slow hook. Again, getting back to versatility.
All that transition at the end of that oil pattern. It's the Viper today.
Viper pattern days.
As Crocodile Randy broke down earlier. I think our Aussie accents are getting better as the year goes on.
Well, we practice every week, so they have to.
McCune from just outside Chicago. Didn't like that one at all time.
It's right off my thumb.
And the 3-6-10 up for Eugene McCune. 16-5 match play record for him. 244.19 average. Over a 248 average in his wins. And he's going to make an equipment adjustment here.
Put some tape in. One thing, when you're throwing the ball hard, you want to make sure you have a nice, secure fit. When you're throwing it soft and hooking it, it's okay for your thumb to be a little bigger so you can get out of that thumb as fast as possible. Get out of the ball, get it on the lane, and get it to start hooking.
3 bowlers who were in the tour trials this year. You see the hot streak from McCune. Takes care of the spare with more gas. 3 have now made TV shows. Mike Edwards in Wichita, Mike Wolf in Medford, a winner last week. Another tour trial success story, and Eugene McCune. Talk about the drama just outside Chicago, near his hometown. Eugene McCune faced in June at the tour trials.
Yeah, and all the players that you talked to that went through that, they all say the same thing. Never again.
Back to BV. Oh! Tonight, ESPN's double coverage weekend. NFL football continues. 8:30 Eastern time. Peyton Manning goes for the record. He's 2 shy of tying Dan Marino's all-time 1984 touchdowns in a single season record of 46. Good news for the Colt fans. At least 3 TD passes in all 6 home games at the RCA Dome for Peyton Manning. Ray Lewis and the Ravens head-to-head with Peyton Manning and Indy tonight. Voss pacing the versatility and a 10-pin on a ball he liked out of his hand.
Shot. Thank you.
What a contrast between the heat we've seen from McCune and the moderate tempo of Brian Voss.
And again, the beauty of the oil pattern, when it allows players to play the lanes in different ways, then it gives everybody a chance.
Single pin numbers will take a hike thanks to that spare ball from Brian Voss, who has 2 second-place finishes this year. We talk about Mr. Second Place Chicago to the Chief Brian Himmler earlier in the season. Also, Tommy Jones a couple weeks back in Denver. Brian is sick and tired of the runner-up role. He's got some equipment adjustments of his own to make.
Unusual to see two guys putting tape in their ball. Usually you take care of that.
Santa Claus is here.
Uh-oh. A young man wearing a Santa Claus hat has caught in the eye of Eugene right in his first step.
Maybe that helps relax him, because as we saw this morning, was he ever tense, folks, in warm-ups? Chance to take a breath. Got to have that. Perform well on TV. 10-pin there for Eugene from Munster, Indiana. Nicknamed the Rocket for good reason. Boy, does he throw it hard.
Dave, I bowled a lot of TV shows where I came in and the lanes weren't anything like what I bowled on for the entire week, and a lot of that has to do with the heat from the lights and the bodies that are surrounding the lanes. You know, oil breaks down from heat. And you start to throw high friction bowling balls, all these lights, all these people, bowl pattern breaks down very quickly. And the shot changes. And you have to be prepared for that.
Right now.
More tape for Brian Voss. This time works the spare ball. Eugene McCune telling us as he started that last day tour trials, 11th place, needed to be an 8th to survive. Near his hometown of Munster, Indiana. Look out.
That's bullshit.
Same thing as the first shot he threw to start the match. He is trapped right now in that lane. It either goes high or light. You heard him say it. What he needs to do, in my opinion, is stay with the straight ball on the right lane and move in and hook it on the left lane.
2, 4, 5, 8. Very rare to see the 5-pin up at this level, folks. So that was not a good shot at all from McCune. And you heard his reaction. Man, as he cranked that spare ball and takes down the 4 pins, but the 6-pin count could be damaging. Voss now at 24-pin lead, works on a spare. This his 5th frame. His sons Josh and Cameron back home in suburban Atlanta are watching. 7th and 8th graders are 12 and 13 years old, and he's going to take them to Denver. Fly home tonight, get them in Atlanta, then go to see their grandma, his mother, in Denver for the holidays.
Oh, that's got to help. Help, help, help.
Crossing
help.
over.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Speaking of holidays, he goes Brooklyn and gets a strike crossing over the head pin. Ho, 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 Brian Voss.
Happy holidays early for Brian Voss. That's okay, though. He's been on the other side of it. As you can see, his week is obviously very productive. Down 2-3 to Michael Haugen Jr. Michael Haugen Jr. actually had a chance to put him away, let him off the hook, and Brian Voss gets to the show.
Yeah! Voss had 8 straight strikes in that match to get himself here. McCune and Voss locked up in a great semifinal. What do forward bowlers in Southern California do on their day off? They spend the day at the Disneyland resorts. The pros spent some time on the resort's thrilling attractions like Splash Mountain and the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror at Disney's California Adventure. Of course, no trip would be complete without visiting the classic like It's a Small World holiday and the Mad Tea Party. After walking through Paradise Pier, the bowlers stopped by Sleeping Beauty Castle, which has been refreshed for Disneyland's 50th anniversary. The happiest homecoming on Earth kicks off May 5th, 2005. But PBA on ESPN is brought to you by Geico. You too could save 15% or more on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO. By Odor Readers with unique Zorbatex technology, destroys foot odor and absorbs sweat on contact. And by Bear, the more you know, the more you trust Bear. Surf's up, dude. Randy, I had no idea you knew how to surf.
That's right. Hank 10, dude.
Max scores 279, 245. McCune is down now, but not out through 5.5, trying to take on Mike Machuga in the finals. Welcome you back to Fountain Valley, California. To bowl on the PBA Tour, you need to be extremely versatile. Randy explains how Eugene McCune fits that bill in this week's Dexter Approach.
Dave, there's only one way to be versatile in the sport of bowling, and that is you have to change timing. You notice here, this is the one where Eugene's hooking it. This is the one where he's going straight. Notice how much sooner the ball gets there. Also, when he's going straight, he takes his index finger and moves it in. Helps keep his hand underneath and behind. And watch here, here's the difference. Hand up the back here, hand around the side and hooking here.
This week's Dexter Approach, Randy, follows our theme of versatility. We'll see between these two bowlers which can adjust to the ever-changing oil conditions. The lights always affect the oil pattern on television. Much more drastically so. That is the case during the match play, during qualifying, any other time because of our television lights.
And Eugene McCune has now moved way in. Watch there. Here comes the versatility. The question is, will it pay off?
4-pin for Eugene there. Big difference, moving several boards to the left.
Yeah, like 20 or 25 left.
Yeah.
You know, and again, the key is you have to change time in order to throw the ball slower, to give yourself an opportunity to hit it more, to make it hook. Look out.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks, Randy. I haven't missed a single pin all year.
Yeah, he had been perfect all year long until that miss. Unbelievable.
What's he thanking me for? Barb and Bill Chrisman, the owners of Storm.
Absolutely. Devastating open, down by 46 pins. Again, he makes that adjustment way to the left, gets help on the 10-pin. And Eugene, it's interesting, folks, away from the television show is so mild-mannered, but on TV when he's competing, gets pretty fired up.
Thanks, Randy.
He's still thanking me. Why? I didn't throw it.
Now Brian Voss. You see the other finishers. Match play here in California. That's high through the nose, and perhaps an opening now again for Eugene McCune. This late in the match after the open. And that could really be a problem. So Tommy Jones, who has won once already, as has Danny Wiseman, the ABC Masters champ.
Got to get the ball over into here with hook so that the ball will cover the back pin, the 9-pin.
3-6, 9-10. As we saw in the Miller Highline Skills Challenge, Brian can make some pretty difficult shots. That was not an easy cover, folks, on that spare, and the lead now balloons to 42 pins as he is en route to take on Mike Machuga. Machuga and Voss are very close, good buddies. Voss has always been one of Mike Machuga's heroes on the PBA Tour. We're moments away from seeing those two go head-to-head. Machuga looking for his first ever title. Ooh, gets them all down. 10 in the pit, 60 feet to success for Brian Voss.
Take a look at the eyes, never leaving the target, and watch the passion. Ooh.
Eugene McCune back up his wife Chris. Back home watching with Eugene's stepson Mike and Kevin as well. Near Chicago. 30 minutes outside the Windy City. That really had to hurry. Ooh, a disastrous shot.
I don't hook the ball.
Way light in the swish zone. And the move left 20 to 25 boards has proved disastrous for McCune.
Yeah, I think maybe it was a little bit too far. I think somewhere in between the two may have worked out a little bit better for Eugene. Hey, you know, the guy bowled a lot of games playing the same line all week long. Comes into today, doesn't look good. He's got to make an adjustment real fast. That's hard to do. Start of the match, out at 10. End of the match, he's in to 25. 15 boards left with his target, probably 30 with his feet.
So the man who has the one title, defeating Walter A. Williams Jr., gets help on the 4-pin there. 2002 Banquet Classic, Grand Rapids, Michigan. after he knocked off Norm Duke November 17th of 02. It's been a long time, and the wait, it appears, will continue. All but over here. Had to hurry and really got a break there. Didn't have a split or a lot more pins to deal with. Just the 2 for Voss. And Brian Voss is a winner. He'll take the semifinal match with Eugene McCune, who got here dramatically on tour with the tour trial success last June. But his tour title drought of 2+ years
Nice week.
will continue for Eugene McCune. Still a great week for him.
Wow.
Yeah, we're fast tracking here, folks. Match is over, so we'll hurry these 2 bowlers up to get forward so we can talk much more about Brian Voss and Machuga. Oh, he's going lefty here. Speaking of the skills challenge. But the end of a frustrating day. Not a lot of smiles for Eugene McCune after that left-handed shot. Brian Voss trying to add his name to the long-standing history of bowling in the state of California. The most events of any state hosted here in the Golden State.
Come on,
Mark Croft
Matuga,
had a
me
lot
and
of
you,
success
big
as
guy,
well.
where are you?
The 1978 PBA Tour season began with a light classic in Torrance, California. Mark Roth, coming off a PBA Player of the Year season in '77, defeated Joe Nuzzo 236 to 181 in the semifinals. He then disposed of Lee Taylor 212 to 192 in the finals, earning his first of 8 titles that season, a PBA record that stands to this day. Roth would go on to take his 2nd Player of the Year award. We are moments away here in Southern California from the final. Mike Machuga, Brian Voss. Machuga goes for his first ever career title against his idol, Hall of Famer BB. Tonight, ESPN's double coverage weekend. NFL football continues, 8:30 Eastern time. Peyton Manning looks to eclipse Dan Marino's record of 48 TD passes in a season against the Ravens, who last week shut down his brother Eli. The Ravens have allowed 10 TD passes all year long. Good matchup. Sunday Night Football, Colts and Ravens, also available on high definition TV on ESPN HD. As Brian Voss prepares to go for his 23rd career title in a few minutes, we get to know more about what the Hall of Famer is like off the lanes. It's all part of this week's Miller Six-Pack.
Growing up, did you have any imaginary friends?
Well, she wasn't imaginary, but I loved to see Raquel Welch in a bathing suit. And, watching her on TV, she kind of was imaginary, but that was, yeah, Raquel Welch.
Nice, big Raquel fan. I like it. What's the dumbest thing you've ever done?
Dumbest thing I've ever done is to smoke that first stupid cigarette. I still battle it once in a while, but that was the stupidest thing I could ever do.
What's the one thing you do that takes your mind completely off of bowling?
Golf. I love golf. I took it up at a late age. I started when I was 23, but I'm a junkie now. That's all I do. I could be out on the practice range for 8 hours and think of nothing but how to hit that ball straight, left, right, up, down, the whole thing. I just love golf.
What is the most expensive item of clothing you've ever purchased for yourself?
I buy a lot of Zanella slacks. They retail for about $280 all the way up to $320. They're never on sale, and I still buy them.
Who did you want to be when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, my first love was baseball. And I lived in Alaska at the time, and I was a Pittsburgh Pirate fan, and Willie Stargell was a big star back then. He kind of stands out as somebody that I wanted to be like. Willie Stargell. I still remember that little swing that he ate. Willie Stargell.
Nice. What is the one weird or exotic animal you would love to have as a pet?
It would have to be a monkey, because I eat bananas every morning. They look like they have a heck of a lot of fun, and there's a lot of monkeys. They mate.
Okay, we'll go with that.
We're not monkeying around on the road here, Brian Voss. The Geico Open begins the second half of our season in suburban Phoenix. Check out on PBA.com Pro-Am site Saturday, January 8th. And we continue on the road, El Paso, Dallas, and suburban Birmingham, Alabama for the Birmingham Open, beginning our second half of the season. Can't wait as we get all the way through to the second major of our season, 62nd U.S. Open. Cambridge Credit Classic on the island, Baby Ruth Realty Classic in Indianapolis, the Banquet Open Grand Rapids where Eugene McCune won a couple years ago, and then we wrap up with back-to-back majors, different format this year, all culminating with the next Tournament of Champions in Uncasville, Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun. Mike Machuga bids for history in Southern California when we return against Voss. The bracket as we stand here, the PBA Orange County Classic presented by Storm, Fountain Valley, California. Brian Voss, the Hall of Famer. Mike Machuga from Erie, Pennsylvania, bids for his first ever PBA Tour title. Time now for the Geico Direct Championship recap with Randy.
Thanks, Dave. Earlier in match number 1, it was Mike Machuga defeating Chris Barnes by the score of 244-224. Machuga waiting to exhale. He wants BV.
I want you, BV. I want you, BV.
Then in match number 2 was Voss defeating Eugene McCune by the score of 235-151. McCune never got on track. Voss to the finals. Machuga gets exactly what he wants, setting up for a great championship match.
These two almost came to blows a minute ago. But seriously, Brian Voss, Mike Machuga is someone you know so well, and I know you bought dinner last night because this is your third TV show of the season. What's it like competing against such a good friend?
It's a lot of fun. You know, he knows what's on the line. He's a student of the game, as I am. He's got great mechanics. He's learned some things from me. I've learned some things from him. But I don't think he knows I put in a little subliminal message during all those sessions, and we'll see what happens here.
We'll find out if that helps you. Bidding for his 23rd career title. Good luck to Brian Voss. Now, Mike Machuga, you're bowling against one of your idols, one of your heroes growing up in Pennsylvania. A chance for your first title against a Hall of Famer. What's that like?
Well, to be honest with you, Dave, I think I'm more relaxed now bowling him than I would have anybody else. You know, we're good friends. We spent a lot of time together out here, and I'm sure this will be a nice discussion over the golf course sometime.
Who buys the next meal if you win? Is it you?
Oh, the loser's got to buy.
All right. Good luck to each. Voss and Machuga ready.
Back in the day, the winner used to have to buy keys for victory. Mike Machuga, we've got to watch his push away. He's got to keep his eyes on his target, keep his head down. Brian Voss needs to regulate his intensity. Don't hoop it up too early and get spent. And keep his ball speed up. Well, that's if he was going to play straight. We're going to change it to he's got to get the weak 10 out. The last 2 times in the title match, not only did he lose his ball reaction, but he had trouble getting the weak 10 out.
Mike Machuga starts our championship match. 10-pin.
Wow. What a great shot to start title match. Machuga looking for his first title ever. And that ball reaction looked pretty good, didn't it, Dave?
Liked it off his hand. Good looking shot. 10-pin for him. See the single pin numbers, trying to up that stat. Takes care of that for a spare. Machuga grew up here in Pennsylvania, a pin chaser at his grandparents' bowling center. Now one of his idols, Brian Voss, stands in the way of Machuga's first ever title. What a storyline. And there's more. Voss gets started with a strike. Leading us to the Baby Ruth Realty matchup, Machuga Voss, Randy.
And all the numbers point to Brian Voss for victory. But I'll tell you what, I think Mike Machuga is going to give Brian all he wants. And if this comes down to a carry contest, advantage Mike Machuga because he has a higher rev rate.
What happens if Mike Machuga wins? Guess what, folks? Not only his first ever title, a chance to knock out his all-time great hero. But he can KO Brian Voss from the Tournament of Champions field in April. 10-pin for Voss, who would not want to see that happen.
This ball is actually going to roll out, meaning it's going to start going left right about there, and then it's going to stop right before it gets to the head pin. Balls roll out when, excuse me, Dave, balls roll out when there's too much friction being created too early. They lose energy, and then they stop going in the direction of rotation.
Single pin numbers, we saw those. They are up by Brian Voss. He's really had a great season, second in points behind Danny Wiseman. Heading into our TV show today, Chris Barnes was third. Voss seventh in earnings, ninth in average through the round of 8. A solid year, but as he told us clearly, I want to win some tournaments. Now's his chance against his good buddy, Mike Machuga. 10 down in the pit for him. And later today, PGA Tour stars John Daly, Fred Couples, and Jay Haas take on teams from the LPGA and Champions Tours in a one-of-a-kind golf event. Don't miss the final holes of the Wendy's 3-Tour Challenge today, 4 Eastern on ABC Sports. Pretty nice golf weather here, my friend, in Southern California.
Beautiful weather here. Unfortunately,
70 and sunny.
Unfortunately, you can't afford to live here. Okay, I'll take that little house there. That'll be $1.5 million, please. Thank you.
Machuga has to hurry. Avoided the 7-10. Luckily for him, just the 7 stands.
You see what I'm talking about when I talk about Mike Machuga's rev rate. Watch how he gets the pins to just scatter. Now, sometimes that's really good, and sometimes that's really bad. I think the deeper inside that you play, it's a bigger advantage.
David Osborne, Gary Foreman, special thanks. Co-proprietors here at Fountain Bowl. They have hosted a PBA event here 4 straight years. The last 3 years had been the U.S. Open, one of our 4 majors. Last year's exciting event won at the Anaheim Convention Center by Pete Weber. Over this guy, Brian Voss, in the final. What an event that was. Huge crowd. Had our house band going. PB, way high through the nose. Almost crossed over earlier in the day, had a Brooklyn strike.
Ball never gets far enough to the right. Starts to grab right about there. You see it rolling over that target that we illustrated when we showed you the oil pattern. Brian Voss needs to move in. I think he needs to firm up a little bit, Dave.
Right lane's got a little hook on it.
Firm up his speed a little bit and move in a pinch on that right lane. You heard him say it himself, too slow.
Victory here in Orange County would make him 8th all-time PBA Tour history in tour wins with 23. He's tied now with Marshall Holman. 22 apiece. Couple Hall of Famers. We get to the PBA Hall of Fame with great shots like that. Flush strike for Voss. The final continues next. If you win on the PBA Tour, you get a championship banner. Voss, Chris Barnes with his 5 titles. McCune has his 1 championship. Mike Machuga still is looking for that first ever PBA Tour title. Leading us to the Uniroyal Tire Rock and Roll.
Thank you. Take a look at this shot. Mike Machuga putting the good stuff on it. Watch the head pin. Get out of there. How about some love? Awesome, wicked pin carry for Mike Chug Machuga.
Machuga works on a spare here, 4th ring. Oh, wow. Again, help avoiding the 7-10 the second time it's happened in this game for Mike Machuga.
Here comes a head pin, just a pinch in front, and that is a big break on a great shot. He almost got 8. Best
event so far of the year for Mike Machuga. His prior high finished 13th in St. Louis, also 16th in Medford last week. There's the 7-pin. As he tries to get that first ever title. Mike's life has changed. Told us last night how things have settled. We mentioned he's living now in Owensboro, Kentucky. His girlfriend, Leanne Music, and her daughter, Jada, is 2.5 years old. There's Leanne from Kentucky. Mike says she's made a dramatic difference in his life. Helped him grow up, changed a lot of things that he had going, and feels so much better about his maturity.
Yeah, I think it's showing in his performance on the lanes. And right now, he looks puzzled. Take a look at his eyes right at the foul line. Looks at his target, and then right as he releases it, his eyes go straight to the floor. Another bowler that does that out here, Brian Himmler.
Good look at it. And a little hook on the spare ball as he takes out the 3-pin, our great crew. And by our producer Mike Roth, director Scott Katz, showing exactly how Machuga looked down, that quick glance upon release. Voss works on a strike, 5th frame. Things are all even, folks. Tight match between legend and the up-and-comer Matuga, trying to win his first ever title. Yeah! Touch high off his hand, but finds the pocket perfectly. A double for him and a 10-pin lead.
Big-time players come through in big-time moments. He was working on a strike, that to take a 10-pin lead. He went high the last time on that lane, makes the proper adjustment, and pures it.
This is the guy who is 4th place all-time PBA money list. More than $2.1 million. Been in big moments and won some huge tournaments. Yeah! And he knows about big shots. Another strike, turkey ball for Voss. He strikes in frames 3 through 6. And he can surpass Danny Wiseman on the march to the PBA World Championship points list with the victory here today. Chris Barnes was 3rd heading in. Ray Williams Jr. still looking for that record tire, 41st career title, trying to catch Earl Anthony's all-time mark. He's been on 3 shows, 1 win. Machuga wants that 1 win as well. 10-pin.
Wow. All I can say is wow. I mean, Mike Machuga has thrown 5 great shots. He struck once. And it looked like the last frame on the left lane, he went high because he was trying to adjust for carry, meaning that he was throwing it good, the ball was hitting the pocket, but it wasn't striking, so hey, let's make a move. Next thing you know, he loses the pocket. Goes back to where he was, bingo, leaves another ring in 10.
One of the big themes on our show today has been versatility and adjustments on TV. We've had some first-time winners. Tommy Jones, who also won in Denver. That Japan Cup win did not count for exemption. The Denver Open did. Jason Hurd in Wichita, and Mike Wolf last week, one of the Tour trial qualifiers. First ever title in Medford. Maybe it's Machuga's turn. But Voss is working on 3 strikes. Machuga down 21. Late help.
Really?
Down goes number 10.
And Chugs is like, hey, where's that been? See how far he spreads that index finger out, gets some good rotation, and he goes, oh, really? Messenger? Moi?
Better late than never. Is that another accent? A little French.
I don't do French.
BV coming way high through the nose. Look out. 310 for Brian Voss.
Well, now Brian's looking at his target. This just looks like it's left the whole way. And not a very good shot. He's only made 1 split all week. But if you have to make a split championship match on television, the 310 would be the one I'd want to shoot at.
Takes care of it. Just his 2nd split of this week. Nails a 310. Needed that one.
Time in that right lane.
Well, the good news for Brian Voss is that he doesn't have to finish on the right lane. You hear him saying only one more time on that right lane. Right now, the focus is going to be on this next shot.
Right lane has been a trouble spot for him all day, as we talked about. Coming in high on a lot of shots. Big strike, Brian Voss. Peyton Manning has 46 touchdown passes, folks, tonight. Against the Baltimore Ravens, 2 more. He ties Dan Marino's all-time record. 48 TD passes single season, set by the legendary Dan Marino back in 1984 with the Miami Dolphins. He has at least 3 touchdown passes in all 6 home games in Indy against Ray Lewis and the Ravens. Also available on ESPN HD. Call your cable operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network today for more. Machuga works on a strike. 8th frame.
There you go. This ball just faced up a little bit sooner down the lane and ended up going more flush in the 1-3. Watch this. Now, semi number 1, 7 out of 11. This match only 3 out of 8 strikes. However, he's only missed the pocket once. But now keep in mind, no matter what Mike Machuga does in the 8th and 9th frame, he's already striking the 8th. No matter what he does in this frame, he cannot shut out Brian Voss.
So the great Brian Voss will have a chance in the end, folks. This is going to be a dramatic finish. Don't go anywhere. He's down 9 pins. Strike here. He's up 1. 9th frame. Didn't like it off his hand. Light. 1, 2, 10. Yikes.
This is just a terrible shot. Way, way, way right. Look at that. He got quick, he got fast, lost it off his hand, the ball shot dead right.
2, 4, 10, excuse me on that.
Got to get the ball over here, have the ball slide, hit the 2 and slide it over into the 10. The ball will take out the 4 pin.
So late in the match. Going back to last season, we had a collapse against Steve Jarris in Dallas. Was trying so desperately to avoid a moment just like that one here, and he leaves an open frame so late. Just a deadly spot in the 9th to have an open.
He was on a double, and he gets an open frame in the 9th, and he just hand-fed Brian Voss the title. Now Brian Voss doesn't even have to worry about this right lane.
Leanne Music, his girlfriend, knows exactly how frustrating that moment just was. And Voss was off the mark on that ball as well.
It's okay. All he needs is a mark here, a mark in the 10th frame, and this match is history.
He's got it. Yeah, 2-5 up for him. But able to play conservatively after Machuga's open. And he should be just fine.
Right.
No!
Look out.
Yes!
Wow. And make no mistake about it, Dave, if he would have struck there, the match is over no matter what he does in the 10th frame. That's why it was such a big frame. He wasn't like he was trying to play it safe, but this was almost disaster, because if he chops this spare here, Machuga still has room. Brian Voss gets 9 on this ball. This match is over.
All he needs to wrap up tour exemption. Needs 9 for a win. Yeah! How about 10? Yeah! Come on, baby. Yeah! A PBA Tour champion once again. Brian Voss, number 23 in his legendary Hall of Fame career, comes today. He is exempt for 0506.
Finally, 2 years for this.
2 years, the last time he won. Memphis, Tennessee, moves all the way to the top of the TOC list. Snares himself from the very verge of
2 years
losing
for this.
that TOC spot. He'll be there in April to wrap up our PBA Tour season. and makes a strong case
Voss,
with third show.
finally again!
His first win for Player of the Year honors. That's what he wanted to return to. First half of the year, definitely an argument for Brian Voss as the most valuable player of our tour. More on the way.
We'll do it again, man. Sorry, we'll do it again.
Yes, yes! 23! Been out here 23 years, that's 23. One every year.
The PBA on ESPN is brought to you by Miller High Life. To live simply, proudly, boldly, manly, this is the High Life. By Uniroyal Tires, the official tire of the PBA Tour. Uniroyal Tires, trusted by American families since 1892. And by Storm, the Bowlers Company.
We'll do it again, man. Sorry, we'll do it again.
Yes, yes! 23! Been out here 23 years, that's 23. One every year.
Brian Voss, you told us when you made your first show of the year earlier this season in Chicago, you never get tired of the bright lights of winning a tournament. Does it still feel great?
I love winning. That's why I live. That's why I practice. That's why I dream. It's a wonderful feeling, and my buddy Mike will experience that. He's one of the really up-and-coming players, and I hope he wins next week.
3 shows, 1 win in the first half of the year. You told us you want to become Player of the Year again. Is this a good start for that?
Oh, this is a great start. You know, I want to set a record for the most years between Player of the Year, and I won that in '88, so this would be 17 years. But the second half, that's what it's all about. I hope the fans tune in about 3 weeks back to ESPN. I want to thank Storm for their support in these pro bowling events. I want to thank Fountain Bowl. You did a wonderful job here. I love these people. And first and the second here, I'll be back.
Congratulations to Brian Voss with a huge win today over his buddy Mike Machuga. He takes his 23rd career title today. Be sure to join us on Sunday, January 9th, 1 o'clock Eastern Time here on ESPN for the PBA Geico Open from just outside Phoenix, Arizona. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For my partner, Randy Peterson, our entire crew, it's Dave Ryan telling you, Jimmy the Celebrity Golf Classic coming up next. Have a great holiday season. See you in January.